Alright, YouTube, and the wild, wet dreams of every crazy leftist is that they're going to take up arms and form some sort of modern-day Rot Front or something like that and start purging the non-believers. Those heretics who believe that there should at least be the trappings or the illusion of capitalism because it's evil. They wear their Walmart Che Guevara shirts and they manage their, US-run tumblers with their iPhones, and they talk about communist revolutions and crap like that. Salon is now essentially calling for the revival of any socialist or communist movement. Militia movement really is what's being suggested here in order to not have peace. Oh no, we need to agitate more. We can't let this be the new normal because globalism is good somehow. And the old establishment, despite the fact that they're constantly starting proxy wars and draining away most of the actual welfare you people want on bureaucracy, oh, that's fine. It's better than Trump, I guess, despite the fact that he hasn't had the time to implement so much as one policy and we don't even really know what he's going to do. Oh, we need to take up arms. We have to protest constantly. It's hilarious. This good luck, tards, is all I can say to these people. You have spent decades, by you I mean the left. You've spent decades arguing that the Second Amendment means, essentially speaking, that you have the right to have a U.S. military, which isn't right. I mean, that's not actually true. The Supreme Court's weighed in on this multiple times. It's common knowledge. We can look at the language used in the 1700s. We know that it means an individual right to keep and bear arms, but the left is far less well-armed than the right. They're even more less well-armed than the libertarians in this country, who at a moment's notice would gladly help destroy anybody trying to take over in the name of anarcho-socialism or communism or any of these movements. What exactly do you expect to accomplish? Are you simply going to protest and block more roads and expect that even the lame streamers, the totally mind-numb sheep of this country, aren't going to see that and say, look at these disruptive fucking hooligans? That's exactly what they're going to see. Why don't you learn to use your intellectual capacities that you claim are so much greater than everybody else based on their political ideology? Why don't you do that? Rather than constantly, I see this time and time again. It's not just the left that does this, the right does this too. When Obama's in office, they're like, oh, censor the left, shut it down, we can't let other people speak, we have to march on D.C. It didn't accomplish anything, did it? No, like, remember the D.C. truckers crap, where Paul Sanchili there, which is what I call him, got all hot and bothered and said he was going to shut down all of D.C. with thousands of truckers, and there were actually like 4 or 5 of them, and they shut down one freeway for like 30 minutes, and he claimed it was a great moral victory. Or the black robe retard regiment of Glenn Beck that I talked about. And here's a funny thing. These brainless lefties here don't seem to comprehend one simple thing. The Bush family, that they hate with all bitter possible gall, is on board with Clintonian policies, apparently hates Trump. I would think that'd be a net positive for Trump. You acted like it was some great glowing victory that you had gotten these virtuous Bushes on board. What about Glenn Beck, the same person that claimed that he and 40 or 50,000 other people were going to martyr themselves to stop Obama and to stop the rise of, I don't know, the New World Order or some crap like that? The same dude who plunged his face in a bowl of Cheetos to protest Trump is now your ally, one of your spokespeople. And the blaze has turned into, I don't know, I guess he's just trying to get the progressives to read him to boost his viewership or something. These are your allies. You're claiming that this is the rudiments of a revolutionary faction? I don't think so. I think it's the rudiments of you'll continue whining for 4 years, accomplishing absolutely nothing. You're going to look like a bunch of little kids. Unfortunately, a lot of these people are from my generation. They're not, the people just coming into young adulthood now don't have time for that crap. They're too busy worrying about the fact that the boomers and Gen Xers, sorry, but I have to put blame where it belongs, that the politicians that came out of those generations anyway, not the lay people, but the politicians they produced, have destroyed the economy, have ground it down with war after war, with new program after new program, regulation after regulation, trying to build a better country. And in the process, they made it far worse. That's the problem we have right now. Generation Z understands that. Most of the people from my generation apparently don't. It's actually a sad reflection on the time period we were born in, that the millennials are the most on board with this Salon crap, or Jezebel, or being liberal, and all this other stuff. Being liberal persists in having as their standard bearer, as the person that they have a picture of on their Facebook page, FDR. FDR, the most, pardon the pun, but trumped up individual who ever led this country, who prolonged the Great Depression, plunged us into an unnecessary war that we had nothing to do with, honestly, and we could have continued just profiting off, but he was a fucking socialist. He was also a virulent racist, who fucked his own cousin. Yeah, what a wonderful spokesman for the leftism. And he basically embodies it too. A total bitter cretin he hated Japanese people. He didn't like anybody. He hated Italians. He obviously didn't like Germans too much. He hated all of these. He was a total bigot. He was also a bitter cripple who couldn't get it up anymore, or at least tales are told. Maybe the polio struck his willy and he just didn't want to admit it, so he had to use some sort of probe to inseminate his wife there, so that people wouldn't think that he had erectile dysfunction. That's why he was so much of an idiot, because he couldn't get it up anymore. That's my summation of FDR, by the way. When Salon is calling for essentially revolution, it's very funny, because back when Obama was the president, they said that anybody who even dared to speak out against the government was a bigot, but I guess Trump is white and male, so it doesn't make any difference. If it was Clinton, do you think they'd be calling for it then? If she said exactly the same things that Trump is now saying, the fact that she has a D after her name and no D in her pants would shield her from all criticism from these lunatics. It's very, very funny, but thankfully these people are not well armed, not well organized, and tend to devolve into infighting, so I'm not going to lose any fucking sleep at night about a bunch of neo-Soviets marching up the street, because it's not going to happen. It's going to be funny to watch you whine for 4 years. You've done it non-stop since the election. You started in whining before the election even began. You've been whining for years. And all the evangelocons on the right were whining for 8 years under Obama. Now all of a sudden they pretend that authoritarianism is okay. That's hardly better than what the leftists are doing now, except you're the ones in power, so you're whining less. I got a bunch of screwed up people. Now, people wonder, why do we have difficulties? Why is our country messed up? Well, there you have it, folks. Everybody pretends like the letter after a politician's name has actually something to do with their policies. No, we've suffered under successive administrations from both parties that have done the same stupid things. We finally have a president who, at least in a half-assed way, is a reformer, who at least kinda seems like an independent mind, who at least is screwing with his own party too, and has basically cast the Bushites out of the party. If only for that, if Trump's only accomplishment is killing off the Bush legacy and keeping them out of office, and the Clintons as well, it'll be a good time for the United States. Just getting rid of those two dynastic, corrupt groups alone would be a net benefit for our country. These people are pretending that Donald Trump is some sort of extreme far-righter from a potato patch out in Montana. He's a New Yorker. He's a New York Democrat. He's barely even a Republican. That's one reason why I can actually respect him. He's crossed lines. He doesn't care, apparently, about party loyalty. I wouldn't be surprised if he has several Democrats in major advisory positions. I wouldn't be surprised. All this talk about Nutchin or Munchin or whatever is from Goldman Sachs. Yeah, that's a concern, certainly. Maybe it's evidence that this person approached Trump and realizes how corrupt banking is and wants to help him take out the corruption. I'm going to be hopefully carefully optimistic about the chances there. Maybe not expect great things. As for Romney is basically a Bush anyway. I hope he doesn't become Secretary of State, but the call for essentially resistance of various forms. Now, you know, what the Salon article is calling for isn't nonviolent resistance. It's calling for take up arms, overthrow Trump, and maybe threaten the electors or something and get Clinton in there instead. What the fuck would that benefit you? She's not going to give you more welfare handouts. You do realize that's what half of you people want. You just want more free money off of those that are actually productive. I have no problem giving the poor welfare. But at the same time, when you're administering it through a system as bloated and inefficient as ours, it doesn't even get to them. So what's the point? What's the point of bickering about, oh, we shrink this social program, we grow this social program? It's not even getting to the people it was meant to get to. It's lining some bureaucrats' pockets with a six-figure salary. Why would I want to pay them more? Get rid of the agencies involved and dole it out on a flat basis. You'd only need a few pencil pushers to dispense the whole program. It could be 10 times more efficient than it is now. All of these agencies could be. There's so much overlap, so much bloat. There's your problem. There's your budgeting problem. When you're rambling about the debt, the Democrats didn't care. All throughout Obama's administration, for the last 8 years, they said the debt doesn't matter, the deficit doesn't matter, all this money we owe other countries, it's not a big deal. Now all of a sudden, since the election, the debt matters again. And the Republicans did the same thing. They were so concerned about debt spending under Obama. Back when Bush was driving up debt, oh, it's necessary. We have to do something about Saddam Hussein. Bunch of friggin' hypocrites. But right now it's the left that's whining because they're the ones that have fantastically lost, which I predicted time and time again before the election happened. It was hilarious. It's hilarious to watch these people falter. They deserve it too. They ran a shitty campaign all across the board. They're still being shitty. The Democratic Party is not going to make some sort of midterm comeback at the rate that they're going. They can't even decide who their new leader is going to be. Dean drops out. Ellison there is fighting the ADL just to maintain some credibility. Who's going to lead their party? Pelosi, the House Minority Leader, who barely retains her job and immediately launches an all-out strike on people who won the election as though it was a good idea instead of admitting that her party done goofed and trying to reform it some. Yeah, that's the leadership you really want if you want to win an election. It's going to work so well. No, the Democrats are going to get fucked in the midterms, I think. Especially if Trump does a halfway decent job. They're going to get fucked. Then they'll have to look forward to 2020. Maybe they can restore some semblance of order after another shakeup, offer a candidate who doesn't completely fucking suck. It's your own fault that Clinton lost. Had nothing to do with some deep-seated subversion and corruption. No, it didn't. You're the ones who are claiming there was no such thing as voter fraud, no such thing as electoral fraud, never vote rigging, none of this stuff ever possibly exists. You were given enough rope by Trump to hang yourselves. You do realize that. There's a reason that he spoke about rigging the vote and stuff like that. He realized Clinton was unlikely to win the electoral vote, regardless of the popular vote. He realized that that was going to happen because he saw his own internal polls from the Rust Belt, and he was feeling better than even most of his fans were. I saw it coming. A few others saw it coming. Many people persisted in thinking Clinton was going to win even if they backed Trump. I had literally thousands of people commenting just that for weeks and weeks before the election. So Trump allowed you for several weeks to declare, no, the elections are totally fair, recounts are evil, all this stuff is... Now you're trying to pull it off and it's not working. People are realizing you're hypocrites. That's why you've lost. You got played for fools. You got completely outmaneuvered. It's time to admit that fact. Bring your campaigns up beyond the 1990s. Actually learn how to wage a social media era campaign, and maybe, just maybe, you can retake the House or the Senate or the presidency or a couple of governorships over the next 4 years and not just flatline as a party into the dustbin of history and get displaced by the Greens or the Libertarians or both. It'd be funny to see that happen. Good riddance to the Democratic Party if it does, by the way. The Republicans, who cares if they continue existing? Trump's not even really a Republican. He's never been a Republican. It's hilarious to watch. Salon calling for some fucking Red Guard movement or, it's going to be the modern Martin Luther King. It's going to be the 60s all over again. No, it's not. No, there were legitimate grievances back then. You don't have any legitimate grievances. Your grievance is over policies that you've concocted in your mind and projected upon a president-elect. Half of the stuff that you think he's going to do, he never said he was going to do. You don't even know anything about him. Then we have the legacy media trying to ramble about fake news. I think WAPO is getting sued by some group right now for claiming it was fake news, and they're dragging them through court. You're going to see this increasingly. Good. Let's kill off the legacy media faster. Washington Post, Washington Times, The Atlantic, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Times, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, NBC. Let's get rid of all these idiots. They don't even know how to report anything. It's not interesting. It sure as hell isn't truthful. 90% of their programs not even really even billed as news anymore. It's just analysis. In other words, it's talking head punditry that can be accomplished by any randomly selected YouTuber who happens to be able to mutter out a coherent sentence once in a while. They have live TV earlier on Fox. Some dude gets caught in a blizzard. He's like, oh shit, I lost my feed. It's like, yeah, they're real professional. Your journalism degree does you great credibility. No, I don't think so. I think you're overpaid for what little you do. You are vastly overpaid. You are under-talented. And you're just a big, bloated, square talking head. That's all you are. All these people at Salon, they're the same thing. Just because it's less important mainstream media doesn't mean it's not essentially the same fear-mongering and propagandistic crap that you find on MSNBC. Rachel Maddow herself could write any randomly selected Salon article. Be interesting to see her try her hand at such a thing. Do some blogging. I'm sure she's really into that during late night sushi sessions with her lefty friends. But yeah, there will be no modern day Red Guard. There's not going to be a bunch of socialists heavily armed with bandanas marching through the street, because half you people, you don't even think that citizens have a right to have weapons. What are you going to do? Carry a baseball bat against a line of a bunch of libertarian militiamen with AR-15s? Okay, good luck. Good luck overthrowing the government. You were talking about how that could never happen and was treasonous to suggest, and now you're suggesting it. So I guess I'll hold you to the same standards you held, like the right wing, the evangelical, the Glenn Beck crowd that now is on your side, fomenting treason yet again. It's just a bunch of bullcrap. You people are bullshit artists, honestly. That's about all. Peace out.